Good evening. Welcome to this webinar. At the outset, let me first congratulate Gujarat Technological University for organizing this webinar at a very short notice, and especially on this wonderful day today of Gujarat Sapna Divas. And I extend my warm wishes to everybody here for the Gujarat Sapna Divas. The topic that has been chosen for today's seminar is very interesting and very contemporary. And that's international business in the recent times and of course the post-COVID times. I don't know how many of you remember the book, The World is Flat. And as we all know, international business is based on the theory of comparative advantage. The world in all these years, in the starting from the Industrial Revolution to the IT revolution in the 90s, and then came the digital revolution, and now we are heading towards artificial intelligence and robotics. All the things that have taken place, and especially the internet and the digital interaction, has brought the world together, the entire globe, and it has constricted, it had constricted, or rather has in the form of a. And the result of this is that today we are facing a situation which is not restricted to one city, one country. I would request everybody to please unmute their mics because a lot of noise is coming. So please unmute your mics. So this situation is not restricted to a country, but to the entire globe. The globe is reeling under a crisis. Something unheard of till now. World War I, World War II, any other thing that came up in the previous year, swine flu, and before that, Spanish flu also people talk about. It had not gripped the entire world at such large scale, uniformly in all these years. And that has been because now the interaction between the citizens of various countries is so extensive that the entire world is one community. And therefore, at one place, it affects the other place. Not only this, a lot of information is flowing now. It's not that what happens in US is not known to India, or what happens in India is not known to Japan. Lot of information from all over the world is going around, and people are keeping each other informed. People are working together in the time of crisis. This has a lot of impact on the ground rules for international business, or rather business as such. Because of the internet revolution as such, there has been a paradigm shift in how business has been conducted. We have models like Dell. We also have models like Uber, which have been based on very, very non-conventional ways of doing business. And this is going to increase. These non-conventional ways of doing business are going to increase further. And COVID-19 is going to come up. Realignment of business forces, a lot of realignment of operations in such a way that newer models of doing business emerge. I remember a year back when we had done a seminar on startups, and somebody was telling me that what today we are thinking is in terms of doing business with operations set up at 4 to 5 places or and something from there, controlling from somewhere. In the coming years, when in the recent years, then the startup models came. The startup models, they totally changed the entire pattern of business, and they brought business to something which was more service oriented, which was more which were low cost models, which were also the models that were spread, technology based and diffused kind of models of doing business. Now the models that are going to come are going to be such models that are more IT based, that are not affected by the physical movement of people and goods from one place to another. So the diffused concept of business is going to further. Not only that, you see in education, the entire game is going to change in education. As we see the data from the best of the universities, not more than 30% would be online. Now the time is coming, because of the situations, we are forced to go online. We are forced to move to online education. Now, this online education will have to get further refined so as to bring in the benefits of one-to-one teaching. And it's still crude because the kind of we have come a long way. We have done a lot. We are now talking on webinars. We are now educating on webinars. We are educating on platforms, digital platforms. A lot of digital platforms with various different features are available. This is going to expand further. And this is going to expand further, and newer innovations are going to modify these in a manner so that these become more interactive and more similar to the one-to-one methods of teaching, so that what deficiency we face now, we don't face in future. Every crisis that comes brings in a large number of opportunities in it. And human race is very smart to tap those opportunities and develop solutions and advantages out of that. And change the things in such a way that things move towards the better. This time of lockdown is the time to think about these challenges, to think disruptively. We had till now just not even dreamt, I would have said, that we not even conceptualize what would World War III be. What would a crisis like where the entire world is engaged into some kind of crisis be? This is this kind of situation where the entire world is reeling crisis. So this is the time, this is a great time for us, because nature has given us a disruption, and we don't have any other way but to think disruptively. And when we do, when we think disruptively, newer innovations are going to come. The world that we see now, after COVID, after 1 year, after 6 months, in the period of next 5 months, is not what we would have imagined, because nobody imagined that COVID-19 would come. Now, since COVID-19 has come, it is always like that. It's said, and I am a firm believer in that after every 25 years or so, there is a new order. There is something fundamental change comes in the society, a fundamental change in the world. The last change we saw was in 1990, and then the internet revolution. First mobile came, and then internet came. So I always used to wonder, and I've always shared this feeling with many people, many of my intellectual friends, and also with various people. Time was ripe for another revolution. But at that time, one could not imagine what that revolution would be and how it will come. And one would think that this would be, and I would always say that this would be in the form of some robotics, and it would be in the form of artificial intelligence. Now you just imagine a situation in times of lockdown. Had you been having robots then in a big way, then instead of exposing our frontline workers to danger, we would have just put those robots over there who would do traffic control, who would also look after the patients with minimum of human intervention. Just imagine, had artificial intelligence and robotics developed a lot, which it at this time, and had we been having a great period of artificial intelligence, great developments in artificial intelligence and robotics at this time, the situation would have been far, 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 far comfortable. But we were just working in that direction, and this crisis came. So this crisis is going to speed up that movement also. A lot of digital interaction, lot of things that were moving physically now go on the net. Lot of artificial intelligence, lot of robotics will have to come in. We will now be forced to switching over to robotics in various situations. And that will bring a sea change in the ways of doing business. Not only that, in governance we are seeing that, and that will also have an impact on business. Certain things which we would not accept, the governments would not accept other than physical form. Now we are accepting them in physical form. In digital form, because we don't have any other way out. We cannot just close down the operation. We have to do it. We could not even think that things like cabinet meetings could work on video conference. Now this is happening. Another challenge that's going to come up, and on that also poses a big risk, big threat, as well as an opportunity. And that is cyber security and secrecy of data. Because with all the digital revolution that is coming up, the security of data is under threat. And the entire world, or the entire cyber world, is going to expose us to a lot of violation of privacy, a lot of violation of data, and what have you. So we have to also work on those things. What I see in the future, a lot of business is going to come up in the area of cyber intelligence, in the area of cyber security, in the area of finding out ways and softwares to keep your secrecy intact, to keep your data intact. We had not been bothering much about it, but now we will be forced to bother. So I see a lot of potential, a lot of opportunity in that sector also coming up for international business, and the world will find newer ways of doing business. It's a very interesting subject to talk about, international business in the COVID times, post-COVID times. A lot of time for firms to do research, to do zero-based budgeting when the operations are minimum. This is a time when they can look at scratch. Where they can look at things from zero, because there's a lot of time available. Most of the times we don't do housekeeping because we don't have for that. Now, what I'm doing in my department right now is I have asked everyone to do record keeping. All the record that you have, classify them properly, arrange them properly. If it is to be destroyed, destroy it. If it is to be indexed, index it and keep it properly. So a lot of housekeeping work which goes on the sideline, it comes in the front during the COVID times, because this was also an important work. So similarly, businesses can also do a lot of housekeeping at this time, lot of research this time, lot of introspection, and lot of zero-based budgeting at this time, lot of zero-based thinking as to what they have been doing, whether they have been doing right, whether they've been doing properly, whether there are better ways of doing it. A lot of time for this, a lot of time for research, and a lot of time for connecting to each other. You can connect to people at pleasure now. You can find newer buyers, you can find new connections, you can interact with them, you can explore in detail, which was not possible earlier because of possibility of time. A lot of things to say, but I think this is enough for today. Thank you very much, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you.